Well, it is a beautiful morning today, and you can hear the squirrel in the background being harassed, probably by my cat. But we are going to do some plein air painting. I wanted to capture these blueberries as they just had that little blush on them. It's just so pretty. And just a nice day to do this. I don't have any bugs so far, so let's get going because it's a little bit early in the morning and hopefully we'll do without the bugs today. Okay, so I hope you can see this. And I've got kind of a far shot because last time I did this about a week ago, I did do a beautiful demo and I was totally out of the lens, the view of the lens. So I'm set now. Hopefully this is getting to you. And I've got my micron pens. I've got a 5 and an 8. I'm going to use the 5, but this is kind of a rough paper. This is my Etcher mixed media sketch pad. The 5 is running out of ink a little bit, which is kind of good because then I'll get like a little gap, a few little gaps there, and it'll look like a broken line. It won't be so solid like a cartoon or a coloring book page. And also I've got a little bit of a rough texture. You can see that with the sun rising here. I've also got a this is a cheapy kind of brush. It's a number 7 Nick Pro round. I like these Nick Pro brushes. They're actually kind of good quality. And, you know, the ferrules are not loose. I get a nice point once I wet it. It's very nice. And I'm going to use, this is not a Currents, this is not a Prima Currents palette. This is actually my Mayberry Blue palette, which I'm coming to really, really love. I love this palette so much, this color selection. And I think I've gone over it on another video. If not, I'll go over it briefly on this one at the end. But some beautiful colors, basic colors, but you can make every color with it, pretty much. The only thing I haven't been able to get so far are really dark darks, like toward the blackish range. So I might add a supplement to this, but you get a lot of nice colors with this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll start with an illustration or drawing to begin with, and kind of maybe cut that a little short because I don't want to take up the whole time here doing the drawing. But I'll get it started just so you can kind of see that I'm actually drawing this, and I'm not cheating in some way. But it's a beautiful day to be out here. It's really nice. Birds are singing. It's kind of just a very nice day here. All right, the trick is to get your relationships going, and that's the fun part, because you want to get the proportions right. If you can do that, then your subject is a little bit more believable. I'm not always perfect, but hey, listen. This is the fun of doing plein air. I'm out in the open. I'm enjoying it, enjoying the fresh air. And no bugs so far. I can't argue with that. I've got one leaf here. These are kind of round, waxy leaves. They have a very distinct shape to them. I'm trying to capture that. I went a little too round on that one, but that's okay. It's, you know, it's a learning experience. Plein air, or any painting, drawing, is a learning experience for you. And it's fun. All right, so very shortly, I think I'm going to cut the camera. There's one that kind of fell off. I do confess I have been picking and eating some of these berries. So there are some sections that have missing berries because I've been eating them and enjoying them. There's nothing like having some fruit in your own backyard. And we planted these years ago, like a lot of them, a lot. So we have plenty right now, and we share them with the other animals. The other day I saw a mama bear and her cubs up at the corner by our mailbox. We have to get our mail at the corner because we're in a very rural area and they don't have delivery down our road. It's kind of a dirt road. It is a dirt road. So there's one of those stems that has nothing on it that I got to already because the berries were blue. But I'm going to go ahead and get some drawing done off camera. You can hear my kids over there stacking wood. We got our wood delivery. We heat with wood. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera so I don't use the whole time doing the drawing. And then I'll come back and we will paint, do some painting. Okay, so I'm just painting in the leaves here just to get them started. Again, I really love this palette. This is just such a great palette. Now, I want to capture some of the color on the blueberries because they're just tinging. So they've got this very pale, it's almost like a fluorescent green. So I'm going to use this color here, kind of watered down. That's a little too green, maybe a little more yellow in that. So I'll play around with this, but I really do love this palette. This is just a nice palette. That's a little bright to catch that color. I guess it's a little more greenish. Let me see. That's a little more what it is like, actually. So if I can get like most of these, that one's just got that, actually they're all kind of that color and then they've got a blush to them. So I'm going to do this section like that, and then I will get that blush in there. It's kind of a purplish pink, so I've got a little pink here. Let me get a little more purple on that. It's got that funny purplish color to it. So, ooh, that's a little muddy. I don't want that. So some of this is trial and error. I could probably take I wonder if I take the purple right from the, that actually is more like it. So let me pick that up. That's a good thing about watercolor. You can kind of play with it a little bit. You don't have to stay with the color you're stuck with. Now remember, these are going to dry. These colors are going to dry lighter than what you put down. So I'm going to do that. The small ones don't have too much of a blush to them. They've got some color in the tip. That little section there has like a darker color to it, but the other section does not. I'm not quite capturing the color there. It's a little more red than purple. So let me try on the next section. I think I've got the yellow down right. The yellowish green. That is right. Oh, I forgot one of the leaves. That's a leaf there. These are right. But the purple is not. The purple is more of a purplish pink. Wonder if I can get a reddish color there. See, what I'm trying to do is get that blush color on these without getting mud. And if you look at what I'm really doing, I'm mixing pink with green, which is going to give me mud. So I don't know, how did I do it on the other one? I don't think I put any green down. That's what I did. So let me pull that up a little bit. Okay, it's kind of dry actually. But let me go ahead and see if I can drop some of that in. Now that's probably a little more what I'm looking for, but not quite so dark. A little lighter of that blush color. A little lighter. A little more water there. Just a tinge. Not quite that light. I'm not capturing the color that I got last time. Last time I got quite a good color going. It was a more realistic looking color. Let me see if these are dry. Not quite. I don't want to get more mud than I've got. That's lightening up the purple a little. Oh, that looks weird. See, something looks strange. Pull it up. I gotta pull that up. I don't know if I can lift it off of this. Some of these colors are a little bit staining, but I still like them. I love this palette. This is like the best kind of selection of paints, of colors. I don't know what I did here. That was supposed to be a leaf, but it doesn't quite look like one. And the stems are brown. Now the brown I can get with this palette. I can get a couple of browns, which is good. But I'm having trouble getting like a black. It's very hard to get a black with this palette. But you know what? If that's its only fault, I can live with it. I can definitely live with that. Okay, I want to get a little bit of this on here. That might be too dark. Still too dark. Let me see. Let's pull up a little bit. There we go. Because I can always add more later. And I don't quite have a fine enough brush. But, you know, when you do plein air, you compromise. You're not going to bring the whole shebang with you. Even if you are in your backyard like I am, because you still have to carry it, set it up, put it down. It's still a little bit taxing, but that's a little too purplish. Boy, my colors are way off today. This is horrible. I did so much better the last time. Of course, I don't know if that had to do with me working in midday. I was working in the middle of the day, and it was hot, 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 humid, glaring sun. It was just awful. It was just too, let's see if I mix a little blue more in that. I'll get more of a different brown. Well, I will, but will it be the brown I'm looking for, the less purple? Now I'm almost in black. So I guess I have to take my words back and say, you can get a little bit of a dark color. And I'm just overdoing it here now. I should just leave it as is and go on to the leaves. Let me get the leaves going, because there are different shades to the leaves here. But I want to get more of a, let me grab some of that purple. I want to get more of a sap green, kind of a sap green going. That doesn't look very sappy. There we go. Now we're getting a little more sappy. Something like that. A little bit more. And that's a little bit too... It's a little bit too dark. I always go too dark with watercolor. That's one of the things I have to learn. and it has to do, I guess, with patience. And here I don't have a very good I don't have a very good shadow because I'm in the shade here. So it's kind of flat. And I'm trying to get like what would be some dimension to the leaves, and it's not working out very well. But that's okay, you know? This is all experiment. It's all experiment, isn't it? You don't have to be, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, and the whole thing with watercolor is laying on the color, laying on layers. The colors of the blueberries are like totally horrible. I didn't capture anything of what I wanted to capture. And it's because I laid in too much of that. See if you can see the other one. I hope I'm keeping it in frame. The other one really captured the colors of the blueberries with that nice blush, that kind of yellowish going to the purple. And maybe it is because I made this too green. Now I see what I did. I made the yellowish too green. If I made it more on the yellow side, it wouldn't look quite so, no, unreal. It just looks unreal. Okay, I want to darken this sap green a little bit. Get a little muddier color going there, but not a darker value too much. I just want to get a little darker. See how that's giving it a little bit more depth? Just a little bit. I want to get it along those veins. That's still a little too wet. I gotta watch working on this stuff when it's too wet. That's the impatience here. But for demo purposes, I mean, we're here. I don't want to stop the camera, I really don't. And this one totally lost the form. I'm going to make that darker down there. I don't want to add too much more red because then it's going to be red. Just want it darker. But you know, things aren't completely one color, of course. You know, there's other colors in each color. So that gives it dimension too. You know, if I come along the bottom here, I need a finer brush. I'm always doing that. You ever do that? You need a different tool and you just don't want to go get it. I mean, the house is a ways away, but I just want to keep going on this video because the last one was such a disappointment. I had such a nice video and the narrative was good. My cat even came over to say hello, so you would have seen my cat. You know, there are just a lot of nice things going on, and of course, it wasn't to be. It was totally out of view, it wasn't out of focus, but it was out of range of the lens. So I blew it on that one. But this gives you an idea of just, you know, just to go out and have fun and play. You know, don't worry too much about how it's going to come out. Sometimes you'll get really good results, and other times it'll just be horrible. And you learn from everything. There isn't anything you don't learn from, I think. You learn from the good and you learn from the bad. But really, I think you learn from the mistakes more. So maybe it's better to make some mistakes. I'm going to get some purple going here and drop in a little bit of shadow. Even though there's no shadow on this stuff, I'm going to get some shadow going on to give it some little dimension. Just a little. See how that gives it a little more three-dimensional look? You just decide where your shadow is going to be and give it that little bit of shade there. See that? How that pulls it out? And that's one of the things, somebody told me that once, or I saw it on a video somewhere, where you have to get past the ugly part. There's an ugly part of what you're doing, of your painting, and you have to get past that ugly part, because then that's where you're going to see the depth and the I don't know, just it's going to come alive. So I'm trying to get past that ugly part, even though this is like one of the ugliest things I've done. It's terrible. But what can you do? What are you going to do? You know, have fun. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. I hope if you're painting along, or you're inspired to find some place to get yourself situated, and even if you're on the way to work, paint on the bus, draw on the bus, on the subway or whatever, on the way to work. If you have public transit, if you're not having to drive, please don't do it while you're driving, of course. Can't do that. But find some little time where you can do this, because it really is fun. And later on you'll remember your time. I'll remember this precious time. Probably in the winter, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was so nice. It was a beautiful day, and the sun was out, the birds were singing. See, and just, try to do it. Try to get away and get some time to do some of this. Because if you don't, the time is going to go by either way. And if you can take the time to enjoy yourself, you'll have a memory that you can look back on. So there's my plein air for today. For this, anyway. I may do another one. I have a sunflower, not a sunflower, it is a yellow daylily that I absolutely love. There are only 2 or 3 flowers left on it, and I have a day off today, so I think I'm going to go over and do that and paint that. I may go back in my, I don't know if I can close this yet. Nope. I may go back in my sketchbook here. I did do, is that dry enough? Probably not. I did do find it here. Oh, not there. No, I did it. There it is. I did that. And that is the actual daylily. I just didn't paint it. So I might go over there and do that now. Alright, so I do have my, sorry about the shade, there's not much I can do about the setup. So I do have my beautiful flower in front of me. I see a spot here on my palette where I already mixed some of this bright, it's almost like a cadmium yellow. It's just a little bit of orange in there with it. Oh, that's too orange. So you got to be careful how much you mix. Now it's hard to fix because it's very hard to mix a light color in and get it just the color you want. I've also got a cat hair in there. Okay, so that's very bright. I don't know if I want it quite that bright. It's the right color, but it's very bright. You know what? I'm going to go for it because it's as close as I'm going to get. So let me go ahead and get some of this. It's a different layout too, in terms of the flower, because this was, see, that's not quite orange enough. I thought it was too orange. It's not orange enough. Let me get that going a little bit. Now it's too orange now. Oh, it's very hard to get it just right. I think I'm going to get a mixing area down here where I've got a little more space. Let me clean this up. This out of the way. Hopefully I won't spill it. Clean that just a little bit. Oh, that was muddy. I don't know why. Because I cleaned it, that's why. Get some yellow in there. Yeah, that's not quite the yellow I want. See that? That's not quite where I want to be. And I need a lot of it because I have a big flower to do. But I'll take some of that. Better to do that and kind of... Oh, not quite. I hate dipping into paint with a dirty brush. One of those people, I just gotta have everything clean. But let's see, that's more of the color I'm looking for. So you can always darken these colors, but you can't always lighten them. That's the problem. So, something's biting the back of my neck. That's great. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this. Still a little more orange I need in there. It looks like you don't, but when you actually put it down on paper, you do. That's more almost what it's like. It's a little too orange. You can play back and forth with this color. It drives you crazy. I think I don't have much of my camera card left, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this short. I'm going outside the lines because I'm trying to rush. I'm going to cut the filming right now, and I will come back when it's finished because I already did a blueberry plein air on this card and I don't have another one, so I'm gonna just go ahead and stop it because I want you to see the ending of this. Okay, so here's my finished work so far. It probably needs a little more work with shading and a little more coloration there in the flower itself, but it's getting hot and I'm going to call it a day. Alright, so I just wanted to put in a brief clip of the My Mary Blue Jeannie Dixon set that I got and swatches that I took just now with the labels of the paints on them. They're nice, 12 mil tubes, so they're very, very generous. You know, it's a nice, generous set. The tubes are pretty big, and the paints are yellow vanadium, orange lake, yellow ochre, primary red magenta, turquoise green, and quinacridone violet reddish. Now, I did a video where you could see a lot of different mixtures that I made with these, and if I remember, I'll include it up here somewhere so that you can watch that if you want to. But I just wanted to include this in here, and I took these right out of the tube, unlike my other video where I swatched it from the palette that I made up, and unfortunately the palette I made up, I kind of contaminated some of the colors by dipping to and from each color, so you didn't get pure colors, but this is the pure color that comes in the tube, right out of the tube. So I just thought I'd share that because I really love this palette. I'm not affiliated, but I love this palette. You can just make so many different mixtures with it. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little plein air time together, and I hope it gave you some encouragement to go out and have some fun yourself. Go see what's out there in your neighborhood or your backyard. In fact, just get out and have fun. Until next time, please hit the like button if you like this video and you want to see more. Leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Alright, so you can hear the cicada in the background. I used to call them haze bugs because they used to come out when it was hazy in the summer. But you can also hear the bees, huh? Where are the bees? Let's find out. They're on the corn. Look at them. I hope this is... I don't want to get too close for obvious reasons, but you can see how they're just covering the corn. I mean, there's just hundreds of them. So, not a lot of people know how corn grows, or there are some people that don't know. I'm sure a lot of people do. But for those folks that were raised in the city like me and didn't know until I came to the country, this that we're looking at, that the bees are on, is the male flower. It's the tassel, and this comes up first. So this produces a lot of pollen, and it will fall on the corn, which is below. You can see the corn down here. You can see that. That's the corn stalk. I don't know if I can move this without scaring the bees. You can see how it emerges from the plant, and it produces this silk that's very sticky, and it catches the pollen that falls down from the flowers above, and that's how it gets pollinated. Every single one of these corn silks is going to produce a single kernel of corn. That's why sometimes you see in the supermarket, if you're buying corn or farm stand, you might see some rows of corn that are missing some little kernels. That's why. It's because that particular kernel didn't get pollinated. So those are all the seeds from the corn that you're actually eating. Most people know that. That's very obvious. But I thought I would just show you this abundance of bees that just come out of nowhere to do their job and provide food for us. It's just an amazing system.